Welcome to Carrie Underwood Live.
And of course, welcome to everyone listening on Country 105 and Kissin' Country, and watching us at country105.com and kissinfm.com. We're all over today.
Yes.
Carrie, welcome back to Canada.
Thank you very much.
It's kind of like your second home at this point.
Yes, it is. Definitely. I know a lot more about it than I did a few years ago, that's for sure, and spent a lot of time here.
It's been quite the year for you already with the CMT Crossroads thing that you did with Steven Tyler, and #1 hit with Brad Paisley, of course, and collaborating with the great Tony Bennett. I mean, it's been a crazy year. It
has been. There's been a lot that's been going on, you know, and putting together a new album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Nashville Predators making the playoffs. That must have taken up a bit of time too, right?
Yeah, but the time well spent for sure. Was happy to be there and support.
Blown Away is your 4th record. It will continue to add to the total of over 14 million records sold. In your wildest dreams back home in Oklahoma, would you have ever thought that this was going to come to pass?
I don't think anybody could have really predicted it. I always loved to sing, but never thought that's what I would do for a living. You know, that would be my career, my job, my passion, and everything just kind of happened all at once, and here I am. So it's all been a crazy ride thus far.
The record in its totality, I think, really does harken back to those small town days, those small town feelings, right? With love and relationships.
There are definitely songs that you can tell where I'm from and what's at the heart of my heart.
Yeah.
But there's also songs on there that are just great stories. They don't really have anything to do with my life. They're just really, really awesome, dramatic stories.
Wine After Whiskey is a beautiful ballad, of course.
Thank you.
And there was that one song, and now it eludes me, that could be on a Jimmy Buffett record.
It's probably One Way Ticket that you're
course.
talking about.
Yeah. Great. It's a great record from top to bottom.
Thank you.
Do you remember, since we're on radio and radio's been so good to you for so long, do you remember when you heard Jesus Take the Wheel for the first time on radio?
Golly, I actually don't. I mean, everything, happened so fast. Being on American Idol, winning, going on tour, making an album. I always listen really hard for every song that comes on, and try to catch it on the radio. But I don't remember exactly where I was when I heard Jesus Take the Wheel.
But it was a crazy experience, probably.
I'm sure it was. I mean, that entire time in my life, having that album come out, I was just like, I just want to sell enough to be able to make a second album. And, what if nobody likes me? And, all of those thoughts were running through my head. And now we're 4 albums into it.
And it's kind of like the same team's back again for this record, or you assembled the same team in the same studio. And
I love the familiarity, and it's not like my producer, I've worked with him since the beginning, and the more we do, the more we learn about each other, and I feel like that makes us more creative. I don't feel like I need to switch those things up.
Blown Away seems like, to me anyway, to these ears anyway, your most eclectic record to date.
Yeah, I've always been kind of all over the place musically, I think in a good way. It keeps me interested. I don't want to listen to the same song for 14 tracks.
Right.
I want to go on a ride, and it's been a lot of fun to write those songs and have 14 tracks that are all very different from each other.
When I heard Good Girl for the first time, I remember thinking to myself, well, she's leaving the Opry. She's leaving Nashville. No. It's time to break away and hit some of those hot AC stations and really party. I mean, it's a departure from your sound, right?
A little bit. I feel like I have more songs that are they're influenced by fill in the blank. It really depends on what song you're listening to. So I have songs like that, like Two Black Cadillacs, like Blown Away, that are a little edgier. I also have songs like Cupid's Got a Shotgun and Wine After Whiskey and Good and Goodbye and things like that are, more traditional country than I've ever done before. So, and then that whole organic feel, One Way Ticket, those kinds of songs that are just fun, easy songs to listen to. Another
departure, though, is the video for Good Girl. And I mean, really sassed it up, I think.
Yeah, it's fun playing a character like that.
Right.
And you know, the song was, you know, a little bit edgier and a little bit more rockin', so I definitely wanted the video to match it. And we just had fun with it.
Good Girl is now number 2 at Canadian radio,
Right.
if you didn't know. So why don't I help you out and try to get you to number 1, and we'll play.
You're going to play it like 20 times in a row?
No, well,
awesome.
we're just going to.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
You're
we're
so
here.
nice.
We're here to help. Here is Good Girl with Carrie Underwood live. Let's get to some questions because people have been tweeting us all week with hashtag Live with Carrie, and if you do have questions, please feel free to tweet us. And the first one here is from J.E. Phillips, 1989. He wants to know what you would have done had you not gone on American Idol.
Well, I was going to school and actually quit my last semester of college to go do the whole American Idol thing. Got to go back. I should throw that in and finish. So I do have my degree. But broadcast journalism.
Oh, wow.
Actually.
You could have been one of us.
I was mass comm major. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I loved like the television news side of things. So that's kind of where I hoped to end up, but I had no idea how I was going to get there.
Yeah, I was thinking about TV too, but I have a better face for radio. So here's one from Jack Spill, and she wondered if you think reality shows are still finding stars, or have they kind of run their course?
I mean, I know that they're definitely looking for another like mega success. I'm definitely a supporter of Idol, and you know, to see like Scotty and Lauren be able to, as new artists, start out where new artists don't get to start out, you know, is really fun, and it's really amazing. So we'll see where they go and see who wins this year. And
I know you live in Nashville now, probably, and I was just there a couple months ago. And the thing that struck me about Nashville is not just the music industry of it all, but just walking around and going to Tootsie's and just hearing people play and people playing in bars all the time. Is that something that you kind of missed because you jumped on the right out of American Idol and you were huge right out of the gate?
Well, I always hear people talk about, you know, like working your way up and like paying your dues. And I'm not really sure where I would fit into that particular equation. I mean, I don't know if you could picture me like in bars, you know, honky tonkin'.
No, probably not.
Right? So, I mean, American Idol was my ticket, and I learned.
It was your honky tonk.
It was. That was my mega honky tonk.
Yeah.
It was my my boot camp, and you know, it was a very difficult, crazy journey in its own way, and I don't think anybody can really quite understand that or appreciate all the hard work that happened on and after that show.
And I guess that's what you say to critics too, who say you didn't, you know, pay your dues or earn your stripes.
Yeah, they don't know my journey.
Yeah.
Only I know my journey, and I definitely, you know, it sometimes occasionally bugs me when I feel like discredited because I didn't play in honky tonks, and I don't really know how I would have done that anyway, you know?
Do you think that your colleagues, the people who are making music with you, whether it's Miranda on the female side or any of the musicians in Nashville who are making music, do you think they care at this point where you come from, or is it more just you're doing it, girl, and you're doing a real good job of it?
Well, Miranda was on a reality show as well. I feel like I've used every opportunity that I possibly could to prove myself. Yeah. And I don't think I have any opposition left at this point, like as far as, you know, any naysayers.
Right. We're going to play Blown Away in a second, but before we do, it's the title track from the record, and we were saying that it is a bit of a departure from your music. What can you tell us about the track?
Blown Away, you said, is next. It's a great story. You know, it's one of those mini movies in song form. Yeah. And it was so fun getting in there and creating that drama. You know, hearing the demo and getting in there and, you know, listening to one, you know, rough version of it, being like, no, more drama. It was just fun creating that.
Are you involved in the studio in terms of when the producers are putting the pieces together? Yeah.
Oh yeah. The only thing I can't sit through is like comping when they start doing all the little technical stuff and I don't even know what's going on, and I need to just, I'll tell you what to do, what's in my head, and then and then I want to hear it, and then I'll tell you if I like it or not.
Cool. Here it is. Here's Blown Away with Carrie Underwood live. we'll get back to some Twitter questions if you don't mind.
Okay.
Great.
Go for it.
Because I have like nothing to ask you. I have no questions at all. Ashers208 asks if Mike Fisher
Yes.
you might. Do you know him?
I don't know. I don't know any mics. That's so weird.
Yeah. Does he ever have Tim Horton withdrawals?
I know he tweeted last night all the stuff because he's wandering around somewhere right now in Toronto. He tweeted last night something about going to Tim Hortons.
Really?
I think he makes it though.
Yeah.
Where we live, there is a Starbucks on every corner,
Right.
and some really great like boutique-y type coffee shops.
Yeah, but a Canadian loves their Tim Hortons.
Yes, they do. I'm still pretty new to the whole Tim Hortons.
You'll get it. I'm sure you'll get it. We'll have to start feeding you intravenously coffee, no doubt. The morning show at Country 105 wants to know, and I think it's only fair that we ask their questions.
Yes.
They loved your performance on Jimmy Kimmel.
Thank you.
Do you love doing comedy?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I know a lot of times I feel like I'm like put together and kind of serious, and I'm always like talking about projects, and I don't really get to explore that too much other than like the CMAs,
right.
With me and Brad, but still, I'm still the more like straight-laced one, and Brad's the goofy one in our roles together, but it's fun doing stuff like that.
Here's another question from Mackenzie. What's your favorite song that you sing?
I love it when people sing back. So it's mainly like when I get people to like do the na-na-nas on like Undo It.
Right.
Or you sing along to like Before He Cheats. Like it's fun to hear them get into it.
So while we're talking about fans getting into it, another question from, I wouldn't even know how to say this. But what can we expect from the Blown Away tour?
Definitely a big show.
Yeah.
We had so much fun doing like more production with the Play On tour that I really want to take that and take what we learned from that and build off of it. I love moving parts on a stage and in a show, and costume changes and all that
Well, if Good
stuff.
Girl, the video is any indication, you'll have like 800 costume changes.
I had a lot the last time. I might have overkilled last time,
Right.
but we'll see where we end up.
It must be tons of fun just to set the whole tour up and go through all the design stuff that comes through your desk or whatever, and just see all the sets that people have in mind for you. I mean, that must be totally cool.
Yeah, well, the Play On tour was all about, I was like, what can you do? Show me what you can do. And I feel like now that I've seen that and see all the creative stuff that they went through, I actually can like pitch in ideas. I'm like, well, what if we did this and made this move around and fly around? And it's fun being able to get into that.
And no breathing fire or spitting blood or any of that yet?
The pyro really scares me.
Oh, really?
I honestly, anytime you see pyro on stage with me, it was a fight to get it there. And I was the one fighting against it. I have these awful, like, nightmares about, like, catching on fire. I just,
So what's the craziest thing that you have allowed?
Well, I flew on a truck the last,
Really?
we got this old truck and like made fiberglass molds of it and painted it blue, and it literally flew around the arenas, and I was in the bed of the truck. And the only thing holding me in there, on high heels, mind you, I had like a little leash around my wrist.
And that's it, just a little leash.
Like holding me to a like a pole.
100-pound wet Carrie Underwood, like you could have flown out of that. Wow.
It was fun. I like it. At first it was a little scary, but I was up for anything, and it ended up being one of my favorite moments in the show.
What do you listen to when you're on the road? What is on your iPod? I would imagine that it's quite eclectic, given just the music that's on your records. But what would people be most surprised to hear is on Carrie Underwood's iPod?
Oh gosh, it really is pretty random.
Yeah.
I have everything from like rap to like Billie Holiday to one of my buddies is in the band 1,000 Foot Crutch. So we're supporters and know every song, so I listen to them all the time. And George Michael and lots of country stuff.
Right.
It's just kind of all over the place.
Here's an interesting thing for you. An interesting fact about Ira Haberman. I have a little daughter who's 6. And on her iPod is Before He Cheats from Some Hearts. And I don't know why, because she's a little young to be worrying about these things.
Well,
but
I learned that they don't quite understand the deal. I've heard some interesting lyrics. One person told me their daughter thought it was Before He Eats Cheese. Which is totally, child appropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Another one called the song Duck Monkey, and nobody could figure out why she was saying Duck Monkey.
Mm-hmm.
Dug my key.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm. Duck Monkey. So it's okay.
Well, let's hear it. Let's hear it because, it is probably your biggest song on radio of all time.
Yeah.
And of all time sounds weird because it's been, 7 or 8 years?
Right.
But here it is. Here's Before He Cheats with Carrie Underwood live.
Or Duck Monkey.
So here's the question we've been laughing about, and it's from Mike on a Monday.
Okay.
After seeing you on YouTube, we know you're a huge NKO TV fan.
Yeah, I am.
Who's your favorite new kid?
Donnie. Will always be my favorite.
Your crush?
Yeah, I remember liking him as a child. He was my favorite.
And then, of course, I have to ask because they're another boy band, but NKO TV or Backstreet Boys?
New Kids for sure.
New Kids for sure.
Yeah, because that they were kind of the original of that.
Right.
Singing, dancing.
Well, Menudo were.
Okay,
But
we actually had a Menudo record. Growing up, yeah. Mm-hmm.
With Ricky or without Ricky?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think it was with Ricky. I have no idea, to be honest. But yeah, I was always a big fan of theirs.
Before we let you go, I know that you're going down the hall to join our friends at CMT, and you're going to be on with Oprah this weekend, Sunday at 9. How awesome was that to hang out with Oprah?
It was really awesome.
Yeah.
I've gotten to do a couple other of her shows before. But this was the first time, she came to us, and she was in Nashville, which she obviously has, strong ties. She spent a lot of time in Nashville. But it was great to have her and to have Mike and all of us hanging out together.
Thanks so much for doing this. Thanks so much for the new record.
Yeah.
And we'll see you down the road.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.